Hey guys, today is Matthew chapter 26. I hope you've read up until this point with me and have been kind of tracking with us. If you haven't, please go ahead and read the stuff before Matthew's chapter 21 through 25 so this makes sense. And God can use that, plant those seeds in your heart before we go into Good Friday, which is tomorrow. So if you haven't read, pause and come back. And we'll go through it. But if you have read, let's continue into Matthew chapter 26. So a lot of stuff happens in this chapter, and I'm going to try and break it down for you in a quick way, but also in a way that you understand. So the first part starts off with the plan to kill Jesus, and this is where we see Caiaphas. He's a high priest. He plots with his soldiers and the people to actually go and take and kill Jesus. And so he's the one who's kind of making the plan and making sure everything falls into place. And then it jumps to this woman who pours perfume on Jesus. She brings her most valuable, most expensive perfume, and she pours it on the head of Jesus. And the disciples kind of like don't agree with this, and they're like, why would you waste that? What are you doing? But Jesus says, hey, no, this is a beautiful thing that she did. She's really giving all that she has and can afford and wants to bless me with it. So her act of love is amazing, and I'm going to see her in heaven. And he really likes it. Right? And she does exactly what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to give what we can to God, right? And so this woman, whoever she was, she's not named in the Bible, but she did a beautiful act of worship right before Jesus is about to be killed. And this kind of contrast, this shows like the difference between the high priest and the people who are supposed to be godly people and just this regular old woman. And it shows how much people dislike him and how much people love him, right? And we also see this with the disciples as they're talking and they're eating the Last Supper, which is also in this chapter. Jesus tells them, "Yeah, one of you is going to betray me, and Peter, you're going to deny me 3 times before the rooster crows," right? And these are his disciples, like his 12 best friends for the past few years, who have been following him and doing ministry with him every single day, and who are supposed to be his best friends. And Peter's like, "No, Lord, I'm not going to do that." But we know how that plays out, right? He actually does. And so we see a lot of back and forth with them and a lot of confusion with them. With Judas, who sold Jesus to the high priest, he completely betrays Jesus and hands him over. But this is how it had to be, right? And so Jesus, we see him focusing on teaching the disciples up until the last moment. He tells them this is what's going to happen, and it's okay, don't worry about it. I know how this is going to end. And he knows that he has to serve them in order to love them the best, right? He also prays, Jesus also prays in the Garden of Gethsemane, right? He's spending time with God right up until the moment that he's taken away by the soldiers to go to Caiaphas. He's praying with his disciples, and his disciples are like falling asleep. Okay, this is like super important day, and Jesus tells them to keep watch, to be alert, to know what's going on, but his disciples are sleeping, right? And so we don't want to be caught sleeping, right? We want to be awake and alert. And this doesn't mean that you need to stay up until 5 a.m. every morning and your mom's going to yell at you, like, hurry up and sleep. But this does mean that you need to be on your toes. You need to be on your guard. You need to do what God has told you to do, just like we talked about yesterday. And so, towards the end of chapter 26, we know that Jesus was taken. One of his disciples cuts off the ear of one of the soldiers that came to arrest Jesus, and Jesus is like, hold on a minute, don't do that, that's not what we're here to do. And so they put the swords away, and Jesus doesn't do anything. He doesn't resist arrest. He doesn't try and run away. He doesn't try and beg for mercy or grace. He goes with them willingly, right? And he's taken to Caiaphas, and Caiaphas is trying to like trick him because there's not really much that he did wrong. Jesus did wrong, right? And so Caiaphas needs reasons for him to be taken and to be killed, right? And so he asks for witnesses against anything that Jesus has done, and someone says, "Oh, Jesus said that the temple's gonna fall, and it's gonna be destroyed," and Jesus doesn't say anything. He doesn't try and defend himself. He doesn't try and make up excuses. He's just silent. And so Caiaphas is outraged, and he tears his clothes, and he says, "All right, it's done. This man is blaspheming. He's not saying things that are right. He's going against God. He can't be the son of God. So that's reason enough to arrest him and have him killed. Let's do this." And so at the end of chapter 26, we see Peter do exactly what Jesus said he's going to do and deny him. All of the 12 disciples desert Jesus, right? They don't come to his aid. They don't try and rescue him. They all run away in fear because Jesus got arrested, right? And so Jesus says he denies Jesus. Peter denies Jesus 3 times, and that's where the chapter ends. And that's where our Bible reading packet has ended, because tomorrow is Good Friday, and I'm just going to post a special service, so if you can spend time with your family in worship, talking about Jesus and loving on God tomorrow, that'd be great. I'm going to post a video tomorrow so we can do that together. But guys, before we do that, I know that you have a lot of time on your hands, not being in school and being asked to stay home. So please spend time with God. Even if it's just praising or dancing and being silly with God, that's okay. But prepare your heart, because tomorrow marks the most significant act of love that we've ever experienced and will ever know. And so we want to make sure that we're in a place, inside and outside, that we can focus on God and really love him and thank him, and reflect on what that act was. And so prepare your heart, okay? Pray, praise, read the Bible. If you need to, reread the chapters if you want, or read different chapters, whatever you want to do. But just spend some extra time with God before tomorrow and Good Friday. All right, guys, I love you. I'll see you soon. Bye.